Welcome to Housing for Huntsvillians, the podcast, a podcast about one couple's quest to eliminate homelessness in Huntsville by August 2026.
So this is Housing for Huntsvillians, episode 3?
Well, we don't know what episode this is going to be. Episode unknown.
Yeah, we've got a number of interviews lined up for this week, which is why we have a completely different audio setup this week, is because we realized that we needed the mics to record multiple people, or more people than just us. So, yeah. Hopefully after this episode, whenever it actually airs, there'll be some stability there, but we're figuring it out. It's gonna be great.
Learning as we go. And on that note, I wanted to talk about who we're going to be having as our guests. We've got a few people coming up. I guess I don't want to say like who exactly in case, things go awry. You never know. But I've been thinking a lot about making friends and influencing people. That has not been my MO necessarily in the past, where I've come in and just stated my opinions very loudly in a way that was alienating. And there's an extent to which you have to alienate people to get anything done, to be authentic, right? Like if you have anything remotely interesting to say, someone is going to disagree with you about it. However, I feel like in the past I've done it in a way that was unstrategic. And so again, I'm trying to hit a balance between being authentic on the one hand and also just doing things more smartly than I've done them in the past. But anyway, I'm thinking about it because we are going to have some people on the podcast, hopefully, fingers crossed, who I don't agree with on everything. And I assume it would be difficult for any one listener to agree with. I'm thinking of like two people in particular, to agree with them, both of those people on everything, because those people don't agree with each other on certain things. And I've been thinking about how on the one hand, it's like cowardly to say, I'm just asking questions, I don't have to think about who I platform because I'm just a neutral person. But it's like, well, no, you are endorsing someone to some extent by having them on your podcast and giving them a platform. And to an extent, you're endorsing everything that they have to say, to an extent. But there's also, on the other side, well, if I only talked to people who I agreed with on every single topic, I wouldn't have very many people, if anyone, to talk to. So, these are really hard questions. Who to platform, what to ask them about, where to start fights versus just work together on the things you agree on. I don't have answers. I have just a lot of questions, and I'm just trying to do the best I can. And I'm trying to do things differently. And maybe whereas before I was too argumentative, now I'm going to overcorrect and not push hard enough for the things that I believe in, while at the same time recognizing that the things I believe in today may not be the things that I believe in tomorrow.
I think the fact that you're willing to have opposing voices on is a step in the right direction. And that's one of the things that I think is really attractive about Huntsville New Liberals here, and compared to some other stuff, is just because it's so far the vibe that I've gotten from all our meetups has been you're open to hearing people's ideas. We're not trying to shove our views down people's throats necessarily, but we want to create dialogue and in the process actually get something done. And I feel like this handling the podcast in kind of some of the same ways is really smart, and also just how the Housing for Huntsvillians stuff in general, because we're going to have to work with people. And we're in Alabama, so we're not going to agree with people on everything.
Right, exactly. And that's one thing that again, it's a balance. You want to get things done, but you don't want to sacrifice. Yeah, what are you willing to tolerate in order to accomplish your goals? And I don't think there's a right answer, but I think that I want to eliminate homelessness in Huntsville by August 2026. And I think it's going to happen faster. It will only happen if we work with other people. We cannot do it on our own. That is not within the realm of possibility. So we need to find out who is working on it, what they're doing, how we can be helpful. And so, yeah, coming out swinging and arguing about things is probably not going to be the most efficacious way to find information and find allies and recruit people to the cause. So, yeah, it's, I don't know. These are just things that I've been thinking about. And I guess I just wanted people to know. I think we should probably publish this before our first interview, just so people don't take who we're talking to as this is what team you're on, or this is, because they believe this one thing, then they must agree with that thing as well. We can recognize that people who agree with us on some things are going to disagree with us on others, and that we can still work together. I am happy to work with people I disagree with on certain things. If they're not willing to work with me, I'm going to have to accept that. But I'm putting it forward that I'm willing to work with them. And so, but that doesn't mean I agree with them on everything that they have to say.
I think that's a really good idea, because that's one thing that I've noticed, especially in the political space, is everyone's so polarized that like it's assumed that everyone has to be on a side.
Right.
And that's not what we're doing. We want to accomplish things by working across lines where they can be worked across, but like, yeah, we're not here to take a side just to take a side, I guess.
Well, and I will take sides. Like, I am queer, I am pro-queer, I am liberal, meaning anti-authoritarian. I am against homelessness. I will take positions, but, we can disagree about queerness and agree that every person who is unhoused should be housed.
Yeah, I guess the saying that we're not here to take a side is not the right way to state it. We're not here to purity test everyone,
right,
that could potentially help us. Like,
exactly.
We realize we're going to have opposing views. There definitely are things that we believe in, but like if we want to accomplish things,
right?
So we're not going to purity test the crap out of everyone that could potentially help us, because that just sounds stupid.
It's just not effective. It's very short-term thinking. It feels good in the moment, but it doesn't accomplish the goals that I think are a lot more important. I think whatever I could do by arguing with any particular individual about queerness is a lot less useful than eliminating homelessness, even just for queer people in Huntsville. Because queer people are disproportionately impacted by homelessness. So, yeah, that's what I'm trying. New thing for me.
That is a huge step in one. Yeah, you were rocking it.
Thanks, you too. I mean, and this is more natural for you. I feel like you're a very friendly person.
I've gone through the same thing though. Like my political views used to be very, very polarized, to the point of like I could not see it. This would have been a challenge for me, definitely at a different point. I just got so tired of being angry all the time and not accomplishing anything, that I think I finally got to the point where I'm kind of where you're at now, in terms of being willing to hear other people out, and also just like not purity testing everything. I would say that is still somewhat of a new concept for me though, as well.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I remember so many instances of my life of I would be in a situation where I could have an argument or make a friend, and I would choose to have an argument over and over and over again. And I look back and I'm like, what were the stakes of that? Like, what did it matter how that argument turned out versus like, what could I have accomplished if I had, you know, been able to collaborate more closely with that person? Because anyone who's worth arguing with, which I think is someone who is open to changing their mind or having their mind change or changing your mind, right? Somebody who's open-minded and knows enough to tell you something that might alter your perspective. Anyone who's smart enough to be worth arguing with is smart enough to probably be a useful comrade.
That's a good way of looking at it.
That's again, you're watching one couple's quest to eliminate homelessness in Huntsville by August 2026 and one person's quest to give new tactics a try. And so we'll see how successful any of this is.
Well, I mean, I'd say that we're both doing that to a degree because you got me to actually play the game again just based off of wanting to try new tactics.
Yeah.
And me being tired of watching the same old tactics fail over and over again. So.
And, I definitely want feedback as I'm doing these interviews. I want to know, like, what do you wish that I'd asked? What do you wish I'd pressed further on? What do you wish I hadn't asked? What do you wish, who do you want to have on? I don't know anything right now. I'm doing the best I can with what I know, but the people listening have way more information in their heads than I could ever have in mine. So yeah, definitely want this to be super collaborative.
Yeah. And if you're watching this or listening to this on Spotify, we'll set up polls from time to time. Definitely look out for those. Spotify has some very nice QA and poll features. And we may also run some polls on the site. But yeah, we'll definitely try new ways of getting feedback from you guys. And we're just happy you guys are here.
Yeah, and if you want to reach out to us right now, I guess the best way would be the contact form on our website. Also, we need to be ending all these with calls to action. I just realized
we're getting everything down.
We're learning. But yeah, so if you want to learn more, reach out with comments, questions, then go to our website, housingforhuntsvillians.com. And there's contact form, there's about us, and there's a sign up form for our newsletter. And that's like the best way to get involved initially so we can tell you about other things that are happening, meetups, opportunities for activism, volunteer opportunities, and things like that.
Yeah. And also you can find the podcast there and full transcripts, things like that. The video version of the podcast or for each episode. Yeah. And also a ton of really awesome blog posts, all written by Cathy, that are amazing. So you should definitely check it out.
Designed by Rob.
Yes. I might. There we go. Sorry. I'm watching the levels.
That's all I have. Do you have anything else?
No, that's it. I'm excited to continue on, and then we've got 2 recordings scheduled for later in the week that will get up here soon for you guys to listen to and enjoy. It's exciting. Exciting times.
Ooh, housing.
Woo! All right. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll be back next week. Or maybe this week. I don't know what our schedule are. Our schedules
once a week, Wednesdays.
Yeah. All right.
Bye. Bye.